Hey everybody, it is Ben, aka the Fuse Box. I am coming to you from my bunker, as usual, for an episode of Fuse Box Engaged. This is actually supposed to be a pretty special episode in that I have finally, after weeks of talking about it, I have finally launched the mailing list for Outlaw Nights issue number 2. This is going to be the continuation of Genesis of a Renegade. So it's going to be Genesis of a Renegade Part 2. Now, you would know it, but as I was trying to get this thing going, I was really hoping that I would have some guests with me because I'm streaming from my phone right now, I can't share anything on the actual screen here. I can't share anything by myself. I was hoping that one of my usual guests would be around to help share some of this preliminary artwork and also to share the page itself. But from basically from what I've been able to tell, it looks like I'm not going to have any of my usual folks with me. Although there is still time. Somebody might pop in, but it's looking like I'm flying solo for this one. So it's a little bit embarrassing because I can't show you any of the really awesome artwork yet. But if you are watching this in the replay, or if you're tuning in pretty soon, like right now, if you look in the description of this video, you will see a link to the sign-up page for Outlaw Nights issue number 2. And you're going to want to get in on this. I am working with a new team of artists and a new colorist. And this has been in the works for a while now. I've been working my butt off as a dishwasher, saving and paying my guys. And it's been a bit of a slog, but we finally had enough artwork to where I was ready to launch this bad boy. And for those of you who are kind of new to Outlaw Nights, essentially, the script for this is already completed because it was originally going to be the second half of the first issue, but I had to cut the first issue in half to make our funding goal reasonable. So as a result, issue 2 is technically the second half of the story. That's why I didn't bother to give it a new name, if you will, because essentially the way I'm working with the Outlaw Nights brand is that instead of just doing it like, oh, this is Outlaw Nights 1, this is Outlaw Nights 2, my hope was to give each book its own subsequent subtitle. So the first issue was Outlaw Nights Genesis of a Renegade. This is Genesis of a Renegade Part 2. I know that, a part of me doesn't like calling it that, but there's really no better descriptor for it because it really is the follow-up. It really is the second half of Genesis of a Renegade. Now, beauty of this whole campaign and the beauty of getting on the email list, you're going to want to do that because I have a select number here, but I have some issues of issue 1 still in my home. I'm not selling them on the original Indiegogo page because my plan here if you get on the email list, you are going to have access to a special tier that's going to be sort of a buy 2 for the price of 1. So essentially, if you are able to get in on this exclusive perk, you will get issues 1 and 2 of Outlaw Nights for the price of just 1 issue. If you missed out on number 1, or hell, even if you just want another copy of number 1, by all means, you wanna be on this email list, because this will be saving you some money. And I really hate having to charge money. Well, I mean, I don't hate having to charge money, but I hate having to charge as much as I do for this comic. And the entire reason I do is because all this money goes into the production of the comic. I am putting the best of the best in this comic series. I don't want to half-ass anything. I want this adventure to be fun, immersive, and gorgeous to look at. I am so proud of issue number 1, and from everything we've been working on with issue 2, I'm even more excited for this one, to be perfectly honest. It's gonna have way more. It's gonna have more action, definitely, than the first one did, and it's also gonna have some new fun villains to play around with. And so, essentially, if you're new to Outlaw Nights, you don't know which way is up with the series. I'll run it real quick for you. Outlaw Nights is essentially a futuristic space pirate story. It's an action adventure, and so it takes place in the 31st century. Our main character, Cyrus Lawson, is sort of a he's a colonial security guard in a remote, out-of-the-way settlement known as Therese. He moved there after sort of a traumatic past, which we haven't delved into yet in the series, because I'm sort of taking my time with trying to flesh out the characters. But essentially, he's gone to this remote, out-of-the-way colony, sort of hoping, I guess, to be sort of a small-town hero. He's got a very naive and black and white sense of the world and right and wrong. And this particular time period that he lives in is the time of space colonization, but in so many ways, history is repeating itself as the nations of Earth are all at each other's throats, vying to have as much territory and as much resources in the expanses of space as they possibly can. And of course, they are all competing. It's very tumultuous. We're coming on the heels of the end of another world war, where the nations of Earth all took sides against each other. Sound familiar? And basically, Cyrus wants nothing to do with any of that. Cyrus has had his own fair share of troubles growing up, so he moves to this colony, and but he still wants to be heroic. He still wants to be a good, sort of a savior or a protector of the little guy. So he's working as a colonial security officer, but I can tell you right from the onset of issue 1 of Outlaw Nights, that dream is ripped right from under him, as Cyrus must contend with a group of space pirates that are invading his settlement, looking for a special, well, I don't want to give it away in case you haven't read issue 1. So basically, they're looking for a certain treasure that's gonna, I don't want to call it a MacGuffin, because that would just suck, but it's a little bit of a MacGuffin, but it's a good one. So basically, they invade the settlement looking for this special object, if you will. And Cyrus does his best to stop the pirates. Push comes to shove. He must now sort of redefine his worldview. He must redefine his sense of right and wrong, because there's more to this group of pirates than meets the eye. They're not just a bunch of thugs, and they're not just selfish assholes. They're pretty selfish, but they're not. There's more to them than that. And so issue 2 is definitely going to start to expand our understanding on the crew of the pirate ship Hazard. Hazard is captained by a notorious and infamous pirate who goes by the name of Ivory. And Ivory is, well, for one thing, he's my favorite character in the series. I'll tell you that right now. He's very much a wise ass. He's a drunk. He is very wily. You don't want to take him lightly. You don't want to underestimate him, because he will take advantage of you real quick. And I can tell you that Cyrus does not have a high opinion of him when he first meets him. So and basically Cyrus and Ivory's, I guess, their relationship, the duality of their characters, is very much the heart of this series. And this series is hopefully going to be somewhere around 10 issues, probably going to be more than 10 issues, depending. Issue 1 is about 25 pages long. Issue 2 is going to be the same, about 25 pages long. I'm thinking that 25 is probably going to be the average length for each issue. Although, if we're able to get more, if we're able to if one of the campaigns is able to really take off, I have no problem whatsoever either extending the size of the issue or going ahead and getting started with the next issue and throwing that in, because I love this series. It's a story idea that I've been playing around with for somewhere close to about a decade. I came up with this idea a long while back, and it's transformed in many ways. It was originally going to be a movie, then it was going to be a novel, and now, I feel like with making it a comic series, that's really hit the sweet spot. It's the perfect iteration of it. Although I would absolutely love to develop video games based on Outlaw Nights, but that's a bit of a pipe dream at the moment. Right now, I just want to get the main story itself out there and into your hands. I've put my heart and soul into this. I've been laboring for quite a while to get this out to y'all. And I'm just really glad to finally launch the mailing list. Getting ready to launch the actual campaign itself, which I believe we will be launching in about a month, maybe a little bit longer. It just depends on how many signups we get, honestly, because I want to make sure as many people as possible are tuned in here, because this is the kind of story that I would love to read myself, and therefore the world must read it. You must read it. So please, by all means, click on the link in the description of this video. Check out Outlaw Nights, Genesis of a Renegade. You will not regret it. Check out what we've got going for issue 2. And please sign up for the email list, because you don't want to miss out on that deal of being able to get issues 1 and 2 for the price of 1. Because it's a limited supply. I've only got a few issues of issue 1s printed up at the moment left. So get in while the getting is good. Excellent stuff. Outlaw Nights. Man, I am currently operating off of about 3 hours of sleep. I had a long night last night, and I had to go into work today, so it was not fun. But I didn't want to postpone talking about Outlaw Night. It's everything. And yeah, I'm looking at our timer right now. It's looking like people aren't really gonna be joining in on this one. It was bound to happen eventually. You know, all of our friends, we all got stuff going on right now. So, yeah, probably a good idea to call this pretty early. So, get on that email list, and I'm thinking I may set up another fun talk for either Tuesday or Wednesday night, depending. I'd like to maybe talk some more Dragon Ball, maybe delve into a different subject, something else nerdy. Just depends on what everybody's, it's probably going to be Dragon Ball. Let's face it. Dragon Ball is the king of anime, in my not so humble opinion. I don't care what anybody says. You can fight me on that, but Dragon Ball is king. And yeah, I will also be back next Saturday. Hopefully, I'll be able to get the crew together and we'll be able to actually show you what I'm talking about. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you like anything I had to say, go ahead, hit that like button. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And if you don't like anything I have to say, hit the dislike button. Go to town. I won't be able to see it, so any satisfaction you'll get out of breaking my heart will just be wasted. But feel free to vote that way anyway. Make your voice heard. And yes, this has been Ben, aka the Fuse Box, and I will talk to you all later.